everybody, Livingston here. Today we're jumping into another fun-filled Twilight Zone episode, and this time it is Season 2, Episode 20, Static. Came out March 9th, 1961, and yet another one I haven't seen before. But before we get started, let's jump into the comments section and see what you had to say about last week's episode. Akira Kurosawa says, also one of the best boxing coaches. Oh yeah, we're talking about Mickey. Yeah, you gotta fight to win the fight. Yeah, he's Burgess Meredith was the main guy in this episode, and I love Burgess Meredith when he pops up, and I believe he's one of the guys that pops up more so in the Twilight Zones than most other actors. I think he pops up like 4 times or so, so we've seen his second one in Season 2. Curious to see his other ones going forward in this series, but yeah, I mean, how can you not love Mickey from Rocky? I mean, one of the greatest coaches of all time in cinematic history. You can't go wrong with a Mick. P. Sparks 3419 says, after seeing a second Twilight Zone episode with Burgess Meredith, I'm impressed with his versatility as an actor. Always enjoy your insights, Livingston. Yeah, I mean, I was very surprised to see how different he was in comparison to the episode we seen in Season 1. It has Doomsday in the title of the actual episode, but it's the one where he enjoys reading novels all the time, and he would skip work to just not be at work. I think he was a bank teller. Very much a character actor. I enjoyed watching him in these episodes. Very curious to see him going forward in future episodes, since he shows up in like 4 in the Twilight Zone, which is like more than any other actor, or it's like tied with somebody else, I think. But yeah. And thanks. I enjoy giving out my insights on the episode. So thanks for commenting, and I look forward to more comments from you, P. Sparks. Charles Stewart 8009 says, once again, you were pretty close with your guess at the ending. Yeah, I mean, when you get about halfway through an episode, you kind of get the gist maybe of possibility being, what the ending's going to be. I didn't see the aliens coming up at the very end, the little kids that were dressed up as aliens who gave him all the intelligence in the world. But it was a fun episode. Empire Jeff says, if you have super strength, you might want to check out to see what effect it might have been on the body. Yeah, probably a good idea to go seek a professional medical help. Like maybe it did something to you, but I don't know. I mean, if you got super strength, maybe you would just test your boundaries, like in Unbreakable. He kind of does that, Bruce Willis. He starts to realize that he was able to lift so much weight, and then suddenly he's at capacity, or so he thinks, until his son puts up more weight, and he's like, oh my god, I guess I can lift more than I really think. I guess if you feel good, why go to the doctor and put yourself up to maybe being criticized or probed or possibly experimented on? I mean, you never know. All of a sudden you have all the strength in the world like a Superman, and then suddenly the government gets all wind of it, and then oh no, we're in a predicament where we're running for the government, and suddenly they want your blood and want to extract you into an experiment, and suddenly, I don't know how I got on this tangent, but it's basically what would probably happen in some movies. So maybe that's why you wouldn't seek medical help, because it would lead to complications in your future. But thanks for commenting, and sorry for the tangent there. Ben Rositas 8068 says, makes one wonder if some aliens hadn't made him the world's strongest weak man and or world's smartest dumb man before they came along and made him the strongest and the smartest. You know, I didn't think about that, where he could have potentially been in this chain of events that was already taking place, and he happened to be in a circumstance where it made him stutter and made him kind of sort of a weak man, and maybe that's what happened. But or maybe that's how it started as well. I mean, it could have been in any other way. It's the way you interpret the episode, but that's what Twilight Zone's all about, the way you interpret the episode itself. Thanks for commenting, and let's get on to Jonathan Stein, who says, my least favorite of Meredith's 4 appearances on the show. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it just doesn't do it for me the way the other 3 do. Well, this is only the second one, so I can only go by what I've watched so far. I think he did a good job. But I agree, he did a better job in the first episode we seen him in Season 1. And I'm only basing it on 2 episodes that I've seen so far. So when we get to episodes 3 and 4 of what Burgess Meredith has been on, I would, comment in and let me know, because I would probably forget exactly bringing it up. But I'm very curious to see his other roles in the Twilight Zone and where it goes from here. So thanks for commenting, and let's jump into the episode and see what we're getting into. I don't usually do commercials on this. I mean, I'm not really paid to do it, but sometimes I come across a product I enjoy. But Dirty Bastard, I'm drinking that right now. I'm actually enjoying the beer. If you enjoy drinking beer, you should jump into Dirty Bastard by Founders. Rich caramel notes, malty sweetness, Scottish style ale. Really good beer, actually, and I implore anybody who enjoys having a beer once in a while, be sure to jump into Dirty Bastard.
The Twilight Zone.
Setup shot, rooms for rent. Boy, they're really running into it. Got a nice cowboy thing on TV.
All right, Lance.
I see cowboys movies. It really reminds me of my grandpa back in the early 90s. I remember visiting him or just sitting with him and watching an old cowboy John Wayne movie. It's just one of those flash memories you get sometimes. I will silver away! It's funny, when I was a kid, I didn't appreciate the westerns I would watch, but the older I've become, the more I'm interested in watching the older things that were thrown in front of me when I was a kid.
The new chlorophyll cigarette. The smoke that doesn't smell like tobacco.
It's really good for you. 3 out of 4 doctors are recommended.
What's the matter with all you people? Are you hypnotized or something?
Chlorophyll cigarette can make that statement.
And it's 54, Termite Jones taking the inside lane.
Termite Jones.
Can't you see? Little brown jug is a driving me so. Little brown jug, how I love me.
If you act now, you can get your acreage in Splendor Flats. It's
There,
lovely.
an oasis, yes.
Only green.
25 operators just waiting to take your call.
This looks like it was not filmed on film. It's filmed on videotape. I guess this is one of the 6 episodes. I swear we went through them, but this does not look like film. It's what I like about Twilight Zone. The moments where there's no discussion, no actual dialogue. I like visual storytelling more so than anything.
That's a radio, boy.
Yeah, what's it do?
Don't you know what a radio is, boy?
No one ever saw one quite like that, because that's a very special sort.
Hey, there's our Rod Serling.
Its type was one of the most elegant consoles on the market. It looks quaint and a little strange. Mr. Ed Lindsay is going to find out how strange very soon when he tunes into the Twilight Zone.
Oh.
I thought you'd thrown it out years ago.
I never throw anything away that's worth keeping.
He's a hoarder.
Take it right. That's it, boy. Right up here.
That's right, boy. He has a name, call him by his name. He hasn't earned the respect of being called a name yet, and he's still a boy.
Go buy yourself a switchblade.
That old stuff. That old, what would you call this, blues? Or just instrumental? Yeah,
The broadcast of the Summer Swing Festival. And listen to that applause. But before we sign off,
Bravo!
this is station WPDA in Cedarburg, New Jersey.
Good evening, friends, and once again the wheel of chance, or fate, as you please, is about to revolve. And where she stops, nobody knows. Nor does anybody know what will happen when these young people step in.
Well, what do you want?
Hello?
Ever since I can remember, women have been running my life.
I just want to make sure that it's on purpose and not because you'd forgotten that food is available.
Well, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
You're humming at table.
What was that, anyway? That melody, it went,
It's called I'm Getting Sentimental Over You. I heard it on the radio this afternoon.
Super old.
I heard both Major Bowes and Tommy Dorsey this afternoon on the radio.
Couldn't be.
Why? Could be recorded.
Big mouth.
Now, wait just a minute.
now, please, Mr. Bragg. Local radio station was broadcasting recordings of some of the old programs.
Yeah, that's legit.
Plays that meant something. Magic. Real magic. That's Mr. Bragg, who watches television until he's Mr. Bragg, the modern man, doubts it. That portable radio.
Really, Mr.
Where is that
Nancy?
portable
In the
radio?
kitchen.
Now, that guy's nuts. That's all. He's nuts.
Oh, Miss Brown, you can thank your lucky stars you never married that man.
Now, It was, right?
Gunfire's on in exactly 4 minutes.
Gunfire? What's more important?
Remember what station it was?
The station? No, yes. You know, the announcer said something about WPDA, that is. Why don't you come up to my room? Listen to it on a real radio. Come on, Professor.
Yeah. That's the ticket.
I'd like to hear that program.
Will he be able to find it, though? Hopefully he'll be able to find it again.
Can't seem to get it.
Maybe they're having some kind of transmitting trouble. Why don't we phone the station?
Good idea. Yes, let's
Does the station still exist, though?
information and find out. Information. Would you please give me the number of WPDA? That's a radio station. WPDA. Yes. Heard Major Bose. Remember Major Bose? Sure. Round and round she goes, and where she stops.
Living in nostalgia.
Oh.
Sorry, we're not listed.
Oh, the operator said, according to her supervisor, that WPDA had been out of business for 13 years.
Well, that is strange now, isn't it?
Maybe you had some other state or even another country. This thing has short wave, doesn't it?
But the announcer said Cedarburg. Maybe it's... I heard it. I know I did.
Is it so impossible?
Let's call it highly unlikely.
Then what did I hear?
I don't know, Ed.
They'll probably find it once they step out of the room.
Do you really think he heard those programs?
I believe he thinks he did.
Well, it might be a possibility that he actually did.
We take you directly to the White House in Washington, D.C. for an address by the President of the United States, Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Since my annual message to the Congress...
Come quick!
Why bother? You won't hear nothing but static.
That sucks. Hope he's proven right at the end of this episode.
He's gone completely psychological.
Psycho? Like how we shortened it. Psychological doesn't seem as bad as saying psycho.
I'm getting sentimental over you. It was soft and slow, real pretty.
Damn. Maybe you're loony. Psycho.
I just thought we might talk a little. Do you mind?
No, talk away. Just don't come too close.
He's a loon. He's a crazy. He's in a straitjacket, I tell you. A straitjacket.
You're just about the meanest, sourest, most cantankerous old man on the face of the earth.
You're sour. Non-believer.
Been living like two hermits under the same roof for the last 20 years. 20 long years, wondering what went wrong.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, you do. You know exactly what I'm talking about, but you won't admit it. Don't get your back up. I'm not trying to change anything. We met in this boarding house in 1940, and it was here that you proposed.
Oh.
I wanted to set the date, but your mother was ill, you remember, and so you decided to wait. We waited and waited. Until by the time your mother died, it was too late.
But Vinny, I'm not going to sit here and
Don't interrupt me. I've got to get this thing said.
It's on my mind.
I'm just a silly woman who watches television.
Possibly. What people do.
You're a bachelor set in your ways. You can't change what you are, and neither can I. We had our chance and missed it, Ed. But I'll tell you one thing that's true, and I know it's true.
So,
you did love me as much as a man ever loved a woman.
Boy, this is sad.
That's true, I did, yes.
And now you love what we were, what we might have become together. So just about this time every year would have been our anniversary. You want to go back to 1940 and start all over again. Why do you think you keep hearing Getting Sentimental Over You on the radio? That was our song, Ed. We used to listen to them together in the dark.
I'd forgotten.
When you hear those programs,
reminisce.
you're like a young man again, with all of your life ahead of you. But it isn't so, Ed.
Why can't it be? It's not like he's that old.
We missed our chance. We can't go back.
I feel like this is going to be like it's never too late to chase the dreams that you're wanting.
I hear the radio, don't you? That's what you think. That's not true at all. It's not true. Get out of here, Vinny. Get out of here and let me alone. Let me alone.
Well, Portland, here we are back in Allen's Alley. His hound dog is curled up there under the porch. See it?
Name Senator Claghorn.
I know. You're from Dixon. Now, wait a minute.
Is he crazy, or is it just playing when he's around alone?
Money, Johnny,
Well, I know what you're singing.
Show some reverence, son.
Delivery boy.
So is he changing for the better?
How about a game of checkers, Ed?
Oh, no. Let's pretend is on in 5 minutes. Then there's Kay Kaiser.
Would you like some
then
lemonade?
Say, what's that funny-looking thing, huh? I first started listening to radio again. I kept wondering, the picture tube is right here. Radio. I tell you, radio is a world that has to be believed to be seen.
He's stuck in radio world instead of the boob tube. People still remember it being called the boob tube.
I was just up to my room and my
reasonable.
radio's
I wanna tell
disappeared.
you
Now, do you
something.
know anything about it? What
Ed,
happened
calm
to
down.
it? I might have known. Take away the one thing that...
The junk dealer. We were only trying.
You gave my radio to the junk dealer?
What the hell? That would piss me off. Like, really? I love that radio. Best radio in the world.
Hey, wait a second. What do you think you're doing?
Oh,
no, it don't. We picked this up this morning. Now, if you want to buy it,
Well,
that's...
how much? How much?
You can hardly
How
buy it.
much?
$10.
Better still work.
There. See you later. Loves the hell of that radio. Likes living in the past.
Now, direct from the Aragon Ballroom in Chicago, Tom.
It really takes me back.
Vinny, Tommy Dorsey.
Do you hear it?
And then there's Edwin and Fred Allen and...
Does she hear it? Wow. They're younger.
All Ed Lindsay knows is that he desperately wanted a second chance, and he finally got it. In the Twilight Zone.
Huh. Interesting. Well, that was Static, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't know exactly where it was going until we got to the very end of it. I didn't know he was going to be going back in time to where he actually gets a second chance at living life again and able to fall in love with this woman that has been around the entire time, because she has said a couple times in this episode that they missed their chance. They didn't get what they wanted in life, and I guess that radio transported him back to where he could relive things again and make things right. And I think everybody can kind of relate to that in some way. They can kind of go back in their minds and go, what would have been if I did this differently, or if I did that differently? And that's just, I think, life in general. And it's something that you kind of understand the older you get, that you can't go back and you can't change things, and the only thing you can do is look forward. But this episode really was interesting in the fact that it's a fantasy that we all wish we could do at some point in our lives, where we could go back and change things, but that's just not reality. Of course, not reality in the realm that we live in, but maybe in the Twilight Zone if we ever get sucked into it. But awesome episode. Curious where it's going to rank in my top 5 when it comes to the end of this season. Let me know, comment below what you think of this episode, and we'll go over it next week and discuss this episode a little further and your thoughts on that. But let's dive into some trivia and see what it took to get this episode off the ground. This was the 5th of 6 The Twilight Zone episodes to be videotaped. Hey, didn't I say it was videotaped? It looked that way when I was at beginning this episode. The closing monologue ends with Tommy Dorsey's theme song, I'm Getting Sentimental Over You, instead of the typical Twilight Zone theme music. I did notice that, but I didn't notice that until I read that little trivia there. This was one of Bob Crane's first television appearances. Bob Crane. Do we know who Bob Crane is? Yes, we do know who Bob Crane is. How would I not know that that was not Bob Crane? He is from Hogan's Heroes. He played Colonel Hogan. He was also on the Bob Crane Show, Patriotism, and the Donna Reed Show. There was also some movies made about him because he was brutally murdered back in 1978. Not a fun thing to do. I think Greg Kinnear played him in a movie. I can't remember the name of it right now, but Bob Crane, I can't believe I overlooked that. Features a clip from an episode of The Fred Allen Show. Allen was a popular radio comedian whose program was built around a place called Allen's Alley. He would visit the various characters on the alley and ask them a topical question. One of the most famous characters was Senator Cleghorn, also heard in this clip, played by Kenny Delmer. the blustering Southern politician who was the inspiration for the Looney Tunes character Foghorn Leghorn. At one point, Ed's radio begins playing an address to the nation from President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. This is the opening of one of FDR's famous Fireside Chats, a series of programs in which he spoke directly to the American people over the airwaves. An innovative concept at the time. This particular Fireside Chat was from April 28, 1935, and discussed the Works Relief Program. In 1940, Vinny refers to Ed Wynn. Wynn made 2 guest appearances in The Twilight Zone. One for The Angels, 1959, which we actually did watch, and 90 Years Without Slumbering, 1963, which we haven't gotten to yet. The station Ed hears on his radio, WPDA, was fictitious. However, just 5 years later, in 1966, WPDA was licensed in Jeffersonville, New York. The station still broadcasts in 2002. In the opening scene, one of the things that flashes across the screen of the TV is a commercial for chlorophyll cigarettes. This is a parody of the great chlorophyll craze of the early 1950s, in which chlorophyll-laced toothpaste, mints, and Yetz cigarettes, actually cigarettes with chlorophyll filters, were sold for the supposed odor-controlling properties. The FTC eventually cracked down on the exorbitant claims and the fad died. This episode takes place in April 1961 and 1940. Although the show is much criticized over the years for briefly moving from film to videotape, this particular episode did not suffer as much as others because it required no exterior or visual special effects. In essence, it's a 30-minute stage play. I agree with that. Jerry Fuller, who plays the singer on TV, wrote the hit songs Young Girl and Travelin' Man. According to production slate, filming started on November 20th, 1960. Being one of the videotape episodes, all of the production happens live on the same soundstage. Acoustic reverberations audible on the boarding house television set, including announcements on Ed's radio set, tip off the audience that everything was recorded simultaneously within a few feet of each other. Well, that's it for this episode. Let me know, comment below what you think of this episode, and I will go over those comments in next week's episode. And until then, see you later.